sexism and racism, that a white man cannot be a victim of sexism and a white man cannot be a victim of racism because we have institutional power. And yet when you actually look at the stats, certainly on a sexism basis, when 80-something% of women end up in custody of the children, is that not institutionalised sexism against men?
But just to play the devil's advocate here, couldn't a radical feminist say that because women have been oppressed for so long, you need to sort of seesaw the other way a little bit and then even out?
So do you agree with the statement that two wrongs make a right? Because I don't agree with that.
Well, actually they would. Some of them would. Like they have this idea, especially the new wave of atheism, the new wave of feminism, is that the privileges that they do have, like women and children first when a boat is crashing, they want those and they want equality.
Yeah, I don't understand the statement, two wrongs make a right. How can two wrongs ever make a right?
Well, I'm not a feminist, but their position is that of positive discrimination. So for example, when you have, in America, they have people from colored communities who are now more likely to get into colleges, and even in this country, like someone that I know, they recently got into King's College London, and because they were Asian, their criteria dropped in terms of, because they were not from a privileged background, right? So that's positive discrimination. So a radical feminist may say, I don't agree with this, but they may say, well, we need that because we've been oppressed so long. How would you respond to that?
Well, for a start, I'm in my mid-40s. I have believed in equal rights my entire life.
For men and women?
For men and women.
Right.
I do not go around beating up women. I do not go around treading on women's rights. So why should a woman be allowed to come and do the same to me? My son has grown up in a more equal society for women. You know, women have got more opportunity. How has he ever benefited from this patriarchal privilege?
I never have. I'll still be discriminated against as a result.
So if women are going to be discriminating against other white men because of something that happened, well, the other thing, we're talking about patriarchy.
Yes.
In 2018, the BBC was celebrating 100 years since women got the vote, or some women got the vote for the first time.
Yeah.
There was not one mention in all of 2018 on the BBC website that celebrated men getting the vote for the first time. Because in 1918, 5 million men got the vote for the first time, along with 7 million women. So they're talking about living, the society is subjugating women. In 1918 and prior to that, both men and women had a very difficult life.
Yeah.
Many of them had very, very few rights or privileges.
Yeah. Yeah.
So if you actually go around the cemeteries and look at all the young men that died in the First World War, you could pretty much put your hand on your heart and say these men were forced to go out there and they did not have the vote.
Yeah.
So how is that a patriarchy?
Yes.
In any
Yes,
system,
I like that, yeah.
in any system where you have got one group of people being privileged over another group of people, how could you have that system where the privileged class are the ones that are homeless as a vast majority? The vast majority of them are military deaths. They didn't have the vote previously.
And they had no choice in World War I. They were forcibly they had to go to war. You were shot dead if you did.
If you were shell-shocked and refused to go back into
they kill you.
You were shot for cowardice.
So don't you think men have an argument that in a way patriarchy is justified to some level?
I don't think patriarchy is justified at all, because men and women are like yin and yang. When you get them working together, a couple that is working together, two people against the rest of the world, they can achieve whatever the bloody hell they want.
We're going for lunch now, you coming?
But
the point is that this the feminist
anyway.
John, thank you so much, Matt. Good to speak to you.
The feminist issue is an economic one.
So could you
complain about the fact they're not getting equal pay, which is an economic one. They complain about not becoming the director of the company, which is an economic one. So their complaints is they're not becoming economically equal men or socially equal
Sure.
But both of those are false arguments.
False,
because the economic argument is a class issue, it's a capitalist issue.
Yeah, yeah.
We live in a capitalist society where some people are paid a lot of money and some people are very little money. It doesn't make a difference whether you're a man or a woman.
Yeah.
There are many women making much more money than men are living in the bottom. So it's an economic issue, that. And the social issue is, what is it that makes a director of a company more important and socially acceptable than a dustman?
Stop him.
Some of the ones who say look a bit attractive very soon.
Because he is making a lot more noise.
Oh, the one in the back, right.
Turn your camera on him. And try
No,
and
but
stop
no, but he wants the attention. That's why we're ignoring him.
He's not just on this issue.
So, with yourself, I want to know about your story of how you lost custody and why you think that's because of feminism.
I think it's the prejudice of the judges.
So what was your case? Sorry, what's your name?
David.
David, right. So what was your case?
I had a child, he was a son, and most of the time when he was very young, from a baby up until about the age of 5 or 6, I looked after him more than she did because she was, we're both musicians, and she had a lot more work than I did, so she was out a lot more on tours, and I was at home looking after our son.
Right.
So in that sense, I did a lot of that work. Then when we split up, her behaviour became completely outrageous and we couldn't stand it long, so we split up. And then everything was fine for the first very short period when she used to say to me, I would never stop you seeing your son, and we'll live close to each other, you can see as much as we all live, even though we're not together, we'll see each other, etc. But as soon as she got a boyfriend straight away, that's why it was split up. Then when I got a girlfriend about a year later, she got very nasty and started turning my son against me and said I wasn't paying the money, which I was paying, more than enough actually, more than I was directing. And she was saying that I was a Marxist and a bad driver and all this sort of business.
I'm surprised Marxist.
That's quite true. And then she went to court to get this all settled down, and she told the judge the trouble with my husband is a Marxist and he's brainwashing my son, etc., which is absolutely rubbish.
And back then, being a Marxist was a bad thing.
Anyhow, so that was that, and then she started saying all the terrible things, and then I was supposed to see him every weekend, and I went to go to see him, and then they pretended they weren't in, or he would come out for just 2 hours and then say, my mum says I've got to go back by 2 o'clock and I mustn't stay out, and he got very distraught, so I had to take him back bit by bit, then they were never in. I remember driving down from Sheffield while I was working just to see him for the weekend, and they were in the house but they wouldn't answer the door, they pretended they were out, and that sort of thing, and eventually bit by bit I never got to see him at all, and that's what happened. And then when he got to about the age of, he must have been about 11 I think, he went to school he got a scholarship to a school in Tonbridge. It was a live-in school, so I never got to see him there either. So I didn't see him at all. Then eventually he was turned against me, and every time I tried to contact him, he said, why did you do this and why did you do that? I said, it's rubbish, I didn't do any of that. And he said, well, you didn't pay the money and all that business.
And then, how did the judge get involved then?
Well, she said, when we went to court, she said, the judge...
So you guys got divorced, right?
Yeah. And the judge decided that I was only to see him once every 2 weeks on a Saturday, which was...
That's totally, yeah.
Because if you see your children once every week or 2 weeks, you lose all the emotional, you lose contact. It becomes a very artificial situation.
Yeah.
I take him out, he doesn't want to come out with me anyhow, because she speaks both against me all the whole for the 2 weeks, and I come up and he doesn't want to be with you. It's an impossible situation. There's nothing you can do about it, because you can't counteract that sort of propaganda. That's what it is.
No, you can't, especially if it's the mum.
It's the mum. And children, it was the same with every child. I mean, you believe your mum. You're close to your mum, because your mum gave birth to you, and if your dad is told he's a terrible person, he's mean, and he doesn't pay money, and he's always going off with other women, all sorts of lies, and their son will believe that. So that's what happens.
Wow.
It happens a lot as well, because I've heard it many, many times.
So in court, the judge ruled in favour of her rather than you. And you think that was because of prejudice?
Yeah. because one, he was for a pro-woman anyhow, but secondly, he was being a judge, very right-wing person, a conservative, very reactionary judge. As soon as he hears that I'm a Marxist, that's it. I could see it in his face. He started doing these funny noises at the back of the room. He's getting some sexual satisfaction out of this judgment he was just about to give. And not only that, he did something really more outrageous. He put a charge on my house of £12,000 to guarantee that I paid the money, which I was paying anyhow, and I was never ever stopping it. But because he put in charge of my house, I couldn't sell my house without having to pay £12,000 to the authorities, because the court fees came to £12,000, and she charged me for her side of the costs.
So how would you see this? Are you just one example, or do you think this is like
I joined an organisation called Family State Fathers, and the amount of times this happens is just huge. I mean, the vast majority of cases is because of that. The women, the mother turning their children against their fathers. Of course, there are fathers that I don't play awful as fathers. Of course there are. They're the same with mothers, drunks, alcoholics, or whatever. That's not the case. These are minority cases, but most fathers are usually loving fathers.
Yeah.
Especially nowadays. It's not like the old days of Victorian times when the fathers couldn't care less about their children.
Yeah.
Nowadays, the much fathers feel the same as mothers do.
So how do we fight the idea that the man is automatically evil in any of these situations? Like, how do you fight that at the same time and not come across as somebody who hates women? Because nowadays, if you're anti-feminist, you're anti-woman.
I'm against these militant feminists who are taking it out on men, because men is the enemy.
Man is the enemy. Yeah, they're not. They're the protectors.
Yeah, and it's the society that we live in that's the problem. If we had a really equal society, like for instance, in Cuba and in the old Soviet Union, for instance.
Oh, you're a bit of a Marxist.
I am. I know. I'm not denying it.
It's all right.
But the thing is, there are societies, not necessarily Marxist societies, but there are other societies where men and women are different but equal.
Yes,
you know what I mean? Like a woman staying at home being the housewife is not a bad thing. It's a proper job.
And somebody needs to do it. Somebody needs to do it.
It's a proper job, and it should be done with pride, and it should be paid.
I love that.
And it should be as equal as a doctor
or
an engineer.
It's harder. It doesn't end.
No, it is. Of course, I was a house husband. I know. You do all the. It's a job, and it's an honourable job. Why should these people say, "Oh, it's not fair. We're not getting equal men. We have to stay at home looking after children. Why can't we be the director of the company?" Why should you be a director of the company, which is a scumbag at the top? I do have no regard for at all.
Yeah.
I have more regard for a housewife who does a good job.
Yeah.
It is. It's not equal, but it's equal. It's equal, but it's not the same.
Yeah.
This is why they don't understand. They're just a lot of these women, like this Me Too movement, automatically men are considered guilty.
Yeah.
You make a complaint to a man 16 years ago when some man touches up a woman and she lives with it, fine. She never make a complaint at the time. 16 later, she hears all this thing going on. Oh, I remember that time 16 years ago when so-and-so touched me up. I'm going to put a complaint against him and ruin his life. Why wouldn't they complain at the time? Why didn't they complain at the time?
If it actually happened.
If it happened at all.
Yeah. Because look, my problem is like, you're automatically guilty. That's my issue with men.
Yes.
That men are automatically guilty because,
because all men are rapists. That's what they say.
And have you heard their song, the Chilean song? It's that song that's gone viral, and the whole song is about patriarchy, and the man is the rapist, and the man is cruel, and they're blaming us for being born. When men are the protectors of women.
Yes.
We're not all evil. They are scumbags, but it's not.
The other thing is that women don't complain. If a very famous, handsome film star like George Clooney came up, touched up an ordinary girl, would she complain? No, she wouldn't. She'd be, you got touched up by George Clooney. That's marvellous, isn't it? She can boast about it to all friends. But if it's some ugly person like Harvey Weinstein, who happens to be quite ugly, she'll come and say, "How I was terrible." I was
No, but there, David, something did happen. So I would agree with them.
Yes,
I would
but,
agree
but
with them.
many years ago, and I'm talking about because I'm in my 70s now, many years ago, women would just slap a man. If a woman didn't like what a man was doing, she'd say, "Fuck off," or slap him around the face. And she would stand up for herself. She's a strong woman. That's what they worship, the strong women. Now women are like, "Oh no, he did that." Good, well, fight for yourself. Men are also attacked by other men.
Yeah, men are attacked by women.
Yes. I mean, I've
That
been
happens a
touched
lot.
up by homosexuals and I didn't want the attention. And I've been touched up by women. And I thought, that's fine. I remember being touched on the arse by some woman in Blackpool. I thought, and I just turned around and gave her, it just doesn't worry me. But you've got to have the right attitude.
Wow.
If the woman had the right attitude, she'd say, I'm not defending men who are aggressively sexual or rapists or nasty. But a lot of men are just flirting with women.
No, but don't you think there needs to be a separation between men and women so these things don't happen?
I don't think that, no. I think
Because a lot more accusations that happen because there's so much intermingling.
Yeah, but there should be healthy intermingling without it being.
No,
without
yeah.
a problem.
So why I don't mean is like for example, I went to recently a university, right?
Yeah.
And in one of the universities, there was a unisex toilet, and I thought that was ridiculous,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah, but that's because you think personally that's what you think. I couldn't care less. I couldn't care less. I've been in France. In France, it's quite normal. In France, you go to a public toilet and it's unisex. And I don't see why women should have to queue up for a cubicle when there's a great long line.
No, but say a man like me. All right, if other people look, if there was a unisex, a male and a female, then I could go to the male
Well,
one.
that's fair enough. That's fair
They
enough.
should give people choices.
Yes, exactly. I mean, if I was desperate, and I have been before now, and there's no one around, and there's someone in the men's toilet and the women, I would go in the women's one. It wouldn't worry me. Just the toilet. I mean, when they sit down toilets, you've just got two.
But don't you think that's a really private place, though?
It is, but the thing is that if there's not in there with someone, you're not on there on your own. I mean, it's not as if a man and a woman go into the toilet on their own.
But now, don't you think with all the harassment and all these things going on, don't you think we need some safeguarding principles within law to protect these sort of situations? Like,
But all people should be protected from everyone.
so your issue seems to be that there's a extra emphasis on women's rights than men's rights.
Yes, you see, look, as you probably know, there are homosexual rapes going on.
Yeah. No one talks about that.
No one talks about that. And it's a terrible thing. And young boys and young men are being raped by homosexuals. And this just get out of the way. And if it happens to a woman, it's a big news. There are women that propose, make sexual propositions to men. It's quite normal, quite okay. Nothing said about that. There's just that if you have a law, if you have a rule for one.
But don't you think, David, these are really extreme cases?
Yes, they are. But
So shouldn't we just ignore them and just focus on,
Well, yeah, but
like, your case is not an extreme case of a child being taken away. I think these are a bit, those are rare, but with, I'm more passionate about the parent thing, because I'm a parent myself.
Yeah.
So the whole idea of going to court and then you're automatically wrong because you're a man, that's like a lot more common,
Oh, yeah, that's absolutely. I would say probably that's true. 80% of the cases, that's what happens. It's only if it can be proved that the woman, the mother, is a irresponsible drunk.
She's a drunkard or drugs and
drugs or whatever. Then you can get the thing. But normally, all things being equal, the woman always gets the child, always. And that's what's wrong.
So
And
how?
the reason is because the judges, on the whole, the judges are fairly conservative. They're either extremely conservative or they're conservative in a sort of still a bit not liberal conservative, if you like. And they all make that decision. It's a society saying, women should be bringing up children, men should be able to work, and that sort of stuff, which is not quite true.
But what actually ends up happening is the woman, she takes the child, she can't survive on her own,
No.
so then she goes and works and the child is neglected. And then it's all,
She has to buy-
single mothers are going through hell,
Of course they do, and they can't afford to get someone in to help the children. They can become quite a lot become prostitutes, and they have to do that to make money.
Not too long ago, I saw, it's quite a few number of years ago, I saw a woman in a mobile phone shop. She went to go sell her phone so she could go buy some nappies.
Yeah, That's
But
terrible.
she just ran out of money.
But this is illegal. You see, this is what I'm saying. It's a class issue. It should never be the case where finance is the determining factor. I mean, if a woman wants to bring up a family on her own, that's fine. She should be paid by the state to do that. She should be given all the finances required, because the person that's being neglected, the children, are the people who are being punished. Why should the children be punished for the fact that the woman is on her own and being abandoned sometimes abandoned by the husband or whatever, split up?
Yeah.
Maybe in the case where the husband doesn't want anything to do with the children. That's, in that case, you should be supported. But it should never be a financial issue. If everyone was well off and we lived in a healthy society, these things would never arise.